Have you ever felt like your brain is just a sieve? You pour information in, you study for hours, and it just seems to leak right out? Well, today we're going to break down a pretty powerful Japanese memory hack that's designed for total recall.
Oh man, does this hit home or what? That feeling of pure frustration? You've put in the time, you've stared at the pages until your eyes hurt, and then nothing. It's like you never even opened the book. It's a pain we've all felt.
So, what's the actual difference between struggling and succeeding? Well, look at this. On the left, that's the common way. 4 hours of just grinding away for basically zero results. But on the right, a totally different method that gets you to 100% retention in less than an hour. So, what is their secret? Look, this might sound a little harsh, but I actually think it's one of the most empowering things you can hear. The problem isn't you. It's not your intelligence or your ability to learn. It's the system you've been using. Frankly, it's just not designed for how your brain is actually wired. So why does our brain do this to us? Well, it turns out that all that forgetting, it's not a flaw. It's not a bug in your system. It's actually a feature. What is actually happening inside your head when you read a page and it just, poof, vanishes? Why is it that some random song lyrics stick with you for 20 years, but the stuff you actually need to remember is gone in 20 minutes? And here it is. This is the absolute key you need to understand. Your brain's default setting is delete. Think about it. It's an energy-saving machine, and trying to remember every single thing you see and hear all day would be completely exhausting. Your brain basically has this really aggressive spam filter. It's constantly scanning everything and asking one simple question. Is this critical for my survival? And if the answer is no, it gets tagged as useless information, and boom, it's scheduled for deletion. All those historical dates, complex formulas, new vocabulary, to your survival-focused brain, that's all just noise at first. So this brings us right to the heart of this Japanese memory hack. We can't rewire our brains, right? But we can work with the wiring. We can game the system. The whole secret is to send the right signals to trick your brain into thinking, hey, this new stuff, this is actually survival critical. And it all comes down to a really simple two-step process. So step 1 is all about how you take in information in the first place. You have to stop trying to force these huge, complicated ideas into your head all at once. Instead, you've got to break them down. This whole technique is actually inspired by how students in Japan learn kanji characters, which are incredibly complex. They don't just stare at a whole symbol and hope for the best. No way. They dissect it. They break it down into its smaller, simpler parts. And we're going to apply that exact same logic to, well, anything you want to learn. And the process itself is super simple. First, you just get a general overview, see the big picture. Then, and this is the important part, you break that big idea down into the smallest possible Lego pieces. You focus on understanding and mastering each tiny little piece on its own. And only then do you start putting them back together to rebuild the whole thing. I love this quote because it just perfectly illustrates the point. Trying to memorize a whole chapter of a textbook is like trying to swallow a cow whole. It's literally impossible. But if you break it down into manageable stakes, well, now you can actually handle it. That's the Lego method. Okay, great. So you've used the Lego method, you've broken all the information down into nice, small pieces. But that's only half the battle, right? How do you stop your brain from doing its default thing and just deleting all those little pieces overnight? Well, that's where step 2 comes in. The Japanese term for this is Kungaku Hanpuku, but let's just call it the watering technique. It's a system of reviewing information at specific strategic intervals. Each time you review it, you're sending a powerful signal back to your brain that says, hey, I needed this information again. This must be important. Do not delete it. The best analogy is to think of a new memory like a tiny little seed you've just planted. If you water it once and then just walk away and never come back, it's going to wither and die. It's just not going to survive. You have to come back and water it periodically to help it grow strong roots and become a permanent part of your mental garden. And listen, this isn't random. There's a specific, scientifically proven schedule to this. You review the material one day after you first learn it. Then you do it again after 3 days. Then again after 7 days. And one final time after 30 days. That schedule is the most efficient way possible to convince your brain that this stuff matters. And if you're wondering if it's really worth it, just look at these numbers. The results are absolutely staggering. After a month, someone who just crammed for a test one time might might remember about 10% of what they studied. But with the strategic watering technique, your retention can be as high as 95%. I mean, come on, the difference is just night and day.
So let's just wrap this all up. Let's retap your new toolkit because this isn't just a bunch of random tips, right? It's a complete two-step system for learning basically anything and actually remembering it for good.
It really all comes down to this simple shift. The old way is all about brute force, swallowing the whole cow and then cramming at the last minute. The new way is strategic. It's smart. You use the Lego method to break it down and understand it, and you use the watering technique to lock it in. The result? You go from frustration and wasted time to totally effortless retention.
And please remember this. Having an effective memory isn't some kind of magic talent that you're either born with or you're not. It is a skill. And just like any other skill, you can learn it, you can practice it, and you can absolutely master it. So the only question left is, with this new toolkit in your hands, what's it going to be? What complex subject, what new skill, what fascinating topic are you going to choose to master first?